joined by Team Boss. 200th Grand Prix win for the team. I mean, you must be buzzing, if not exhausted.
I think everyone will sleep well tonight. Great way to go into the summer break. I got to say, you're never perfect in a race, and we'll go back, and of course we could have maybe done, but I think it was about as close to perfect as you get. The drivers were awesome. The pit stop's amazing. Strategy was great to get Lando up there. Oscar drove brilliantly. I just couldn't be prouder of this racing team.
I mean, just a word on those pit stops. 1.9 seconds, very close to the record you set in Qatar in 2023. I mean, that's phenomenal.
That's why we weren't perfect. That's something we got to review.
You see,
we left the 10th on the table.
For perfection. Just tell us about that teamwork and the energy within the team at the moment.
It was great. It was all under control. I had some good chats with Andrea over the course of the race. It was very exciting. That was a great Grand Prix. We had to, with Lando's first lap, we weren't planning on doing a one-lap or one-stop strategy. We weren't sure if we could, but then we got to a point where let's try, and knew it was going to come down to the last 5 laps there, and it was just great to see him race very hard, very, very clean, and they're both happy boys.
I love the fact you're letting them race hard against each other, but what do you say to them before the race going into it? We heard a few radio words to Oscar, maybe pulling back a little bit at the end there. How do you manage that?
The rules of engagement are they haven't put a wheel wrong. It just shows how evenly matched they are.
Obviously, through that race, the free air that both drivers got was vital to their strategy at points, particularly Lando making that one-stop work. We heard all the radio calls in advance, the boxed overtake. How much gamesmanship is going on at that point in the race?
A little bit. Charles was very quick there. I'm not sure kind of what happened on his final stop, why he fell off so rapidly, because it looked like for the first half of the race, we thought Oscar had a little bit more in reserve, and then when we said go, Charles went. So he had great pace first half of the race. George was very strong, so I think we won it today, not only because the team did a great job building a fast race car and the drivers, but strategy and pit stops, I think, is ultimately what got us into a 1-2 today.
Now, you say that both drivers will be happy, but I sense that Oscar may be frustrated that he didn't go for the one stop himself. Was it any danger of him being distracted, if you like, by Charles and missing out, therefore?
No, I don't think so. We were talking to him on the radio to kind of give him the choice. Do you want to race Lando or race Charles? And he wanted to race Lando, which is understandable. I think, you just had 2 different strategies there that converged, and it couldn't have been closer, right? Oscar was faster there at the end, just couldn't get by. I spoke with him as soon as he got out of the car, and unlike Silverstone, when he was obviously disappointed he didn't win, I think here he knows everyone gave it their best shot, and that's just kind of how the chips fell. So he's in good spirits, but of course I'm sure he would have rather won.
Was there any way you could have predicted Charles's fall off then? Because at the beginning it looked like he had really strong pace, and then it obviously fell away, which was a surprise to us watching. But on the pit wall, do you see something maybe to predict that?
No, that surprised us, especially the pace in which he fell off and how strong he was the first half of the race. So I'm sure the team will kind of figure out what happened there. But no, that we were most worried about how we could get in front of Charles.
I just want to talk about the podium for a minute. Mark Ingham on the podium there from the design office. Mark was actually my first manager when I started in the design office. He's been with McLaren 30 years, they said. How important is that backroom time to get in this car? I just want to give you an opportunity to talk about
it's awesome.
Guys.
It's one of the biggest things Andrea and I enjoy, which is if we're fortunate enough to get on the top step of the podium, who do we want to send up? And they represent their whole department and the team. So to see the joy of Mark up there, even though he had the trophy upside down until George pointed it out.
As long as he kept it away from Lando.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all that
I think
matters.
Lando learned his lesson last time around. So it's great. I mean, it's our people at McLaren that are delivering these results. So to be able to kind of share in it and see different team members up there, Andrea and I absolutely love that.
I'm sure that the adrenaline is searing through your veins, but you must be looking forward to a bit of a summer break.
I'm ready to go racing.
Of
In
course,
fact, I'm going
that.
back to Monterey to do some racing. So that's my weekends off for more racetracks.
You have got a very forgiving wife, I must say. Tracy is unbelievable.
She's used to it by now.
Okay,
she knows what she signed up for.
I have actually a quick question, because you've alluded to there being a megastar maybe doing a test in your IndyCar, and I know you probably can't say anything, but I'm desperate to have a little hint if you have anything.
Well, why do you think I'm going to go do some driving the next couple of weeks?
Oh, here you go. Oh, I should have picked
No,
up
it's
on
not
that
that.
quicker, sorry.
It's not that. I want to see if we can get it confirmed. It is quite exciting, but it's not done until it's done. And if we can get it done, it'll be very cool.
Cool. For now, at least, go and enjoy yourself. Put your feet up, even for 5 minutes. You deserve it. Well done to you and the team. Fantastic day today.
Yes, it was a fantastic day for McLaren, but the truth is it should have been a fantastic day for Leclerc. And as always, Ferrari was there to ruin his race once again, but this time with some very strange problem and cryptic team radio.
Hi, Oscar. First of all, congratulations. It's another podium. The great run continues. I know you'll be disappointed, though, that it wasn't the P1. So where was it lost today? Do you think there was too much focus on battling Leclerc, or not from you, from the team, or a general look?
It's hard to say. I mean, going into the race, we thought a two-stop was the best thing to do. And, in clean air, potentially it still was, but, having a two-stop race in clean air versus dirty air is a different story. So, it's very easy now to say that a one-stop was the way to go, but, 1 second different and the answer would be very different. So, some things to analyse with the team, but overall thought it was a good day.
The pace the Ferrari had at the start, was that a bit of a surprise, the race pace, when he got away?
Not massively. He was quick, he was pushing a lot in the first few laps, but then towards the end of that stint, felt like I could close the gap a little bit, but it was tough. But I expected him to be quick, and around here the dirty air is such a big difference that I wasn't that surprised.
It looked like when you got out you were still able to smile and you enjoyed a really good battle on track today. So what are you going to focus on over this break to keep that gap you've got? It might be down to 9 points now, but over the break, what are you going to focus on for the rest of the season to make sure that you're the one with the hands on the trophy at the end?
I think just doing mostly what we've been doing. I think the pace has been very good. I feel like my execution of races has been good as well, and it's going to be a tight battle all the way to the end. So, just doing the same things.
But you're enjoying it?
Yes, I am.
Good.
Thanks.
Yeah, he is still managing to smile, although perhaps not so much on the podium. He still leads the championship, doesn't he, ladies, by 9 points. And actually, that was the closest winning margin, just 7/10 between him and his teammate. There's not much more he could have done, really, today.
Yeah, I don't think there is a lot more that he could have done. I think back in the office now, when they start to review the strategy, there will be questions to be asked. Should they have stopped for the final stop a little bit later? Could that have given more of a tyre delta to Norris? Those sorts of questions they'll start to go through, and they'll look at what the traffic looked like. I think his point is valid on the traffic potentially in the two-stop does hurt you a little bit, but he only really properly overtook Leclerc. So they'll have a lot to go through. It was very interesting listening to his radio at the end of the race. He was really quite positive at the end of the race. So I don't know if that's outwardly to encourage the team or just... he thanked them for the strategy. He said, thanks to all the strategy guys, thanks to all the team back there, good work today. So he was really positive. There will be stuff they'll review, and one of them is the two-stop versus the one-stop, and one of them is the second stop, should they have been a bit later.
OK, well, it was a really tough day for Charles Leclerc because he wasn't able to convert that sublime pole position to a win today.
Charles, I'm guessing everyone's asking you what you were talking about on the radio when you said what we discussed before the race. We need to discuss those things. Can you give us any insight into what you were dealing with in the car?
I spoke too quickly, I guess, because going out the car I had a bit more details about what went on. I thought it was about something else that we had discussed, but unfortunately it was a problem on the chassis. So there was an issue on that side, and we'll look into it for it to not happen again. It doesn't really make me feel any better, because when you are fighting for a win and then you have those kind of issues, I mean, it never happens, but today we've had this problem and we need to look at it for it to never ever happen again, because the car was just undrivable.
So it's not the same issue that was happening earlier on in the season?
No. It was a one-off, so it's something that we need to look into, but I don't think it's something that we'll have anywhere else again.
Did it develop during the race then? Because you got away brilliantly at the start.
Yeah. It was around lap 40, I think. As soon as I started to struggle and complain, it's basically where we started to have the issue, and then unfortunately it got worse and worse.
So it must have been pretty difficult in the car then, because you can't then, I guess, talk about that at the time and tell everyone what's going on. All you're doing is trying to do the best you can, and it's not there for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's very frustrating to have everything under control, to know that the pace is in the car to win, and then you end up being nowhere. So we even lost the podium, so very disappointed.
All right, thank you, Charles. Thanks.
Well, Charles has only won one of his last 16 starts from pole. That was Monaco last year. He'll certainly want to reverse that pattern. I mean, it's a tricky one, isn't it? I know there will be positives that he can take from today. It's probably just a bit too soon to see them just yet.
Yeah, I think there hopefully will be positives. His qualifying pace is one positive. He seemed very frustrated. We don't have any idea what he was talking about, do we?
No, he was incredibly cryptic on the radio, which doesn't really help us. But interesting, he's talking about a chassis issue. So to me, that can be damage or a mistake on the car or mechanical mistake on the car that then failed lap 40. But we're not sure, are we?
Yeah, my only wonder is he seemed to suggest it started from our lap, but it seemed to be both hard tyre stints were much worse than the medium stints. So I don't know if it's cooling either in the brake ducts or what they're feeding into the hot tyres. You know, some teams will want a slightly different temperature in the hot tyres than they will in the medium tyres. So it feels like he, at least initially, emotionally on the radio, was saying we should have handled this in a different way. So I'll need to go back and watch the pit stops and see if they took off a bit of tape or something to change the coolants in the brake ducts, or maybe something has changed around the pit stops. But we don't have the answer right now, and it's all very cryptic.
To McLaren, what a landmark result for them. Delighted to be joined now by Sauber's Gabriel Bortoletto. Congratulations, your third points finish in 4 races. I bet you probably don't want a summer break, do you? You just want to keep on racing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a short break anyway. It's only 3 weeks, and then we are in Zandvoort already. So I'm looking forward to have a week with my family now, but I really want to drive again and keep this momentum that we are having, because it's very important to keep up like this. You know, a lot of points scored in the last rounds, and 6 points scoring in a row for Sauber, I would say. So that's great.
Loads of mileage in an F1 car prior to this season. How would you rate your season so far? Do you feel like you're really coming on strong now? And do you feel like you're at the halfway point of the season, or does it already feel like a long season?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, my junior career was very fast as well, so there was not a really planning testing, 1 year of testing with F1 for me or anything. You know, it was literally F2 was going so well, and then I got my contract, and then they didn't have a TPC car at the time. So when we got the TPC car, FIA put the rule of 1,000 kilometers for the title drivers, the main drivers. So it was a problem, because then I couldn't drive much, and I was a very rookie driver when I started the season. But that's, you know, normal, and you progress a lot through your season when you start in that level. And I feel like I've been learning so much, well, not only in road speed, but I think mainly on understanding of my car and what do I need from it, working with the engineers and everyone.
So today, your first race in an F1 car around Hungary, right behind Fernando Alonso's 22nd race around Hungary. So how much do you learn by following someone of that calibre so closely for 70 laps today?
But not too closely, because you're not allowed to beat him, right? Because he's your mentor. Not too closely, he's your mentor. You can't beat him.
Yeah. It's difficult to beat him. He knows how to play the game, and slowing down at the right time, pushing at the right time. Also, having Max behind was not easy at the beginning of the race, and keeping him, you know, behind me was super tough. So honestly, it was a great race, and I'm glad that I'm been fighting with these guys at this moment of my career already.
Gabby, it's great to see you. Great result. Thank you for your time, and enjoy your holiday. Enjoy some family time.
For you all.
Thank you so much. Okay, really tough day for Lewis Hamilton. His worst result here in Hungary for 15 years. Let's hear from him now.
Hi, Lewis. Can we just ask you about the move with Max at Turn 4? I know that's being investigated. What was your take on it?
I don't really remember it, to be honest.
When we spoke to you yesterday, you made a comment that I know has been picked up everywhere, and you said change the driver. Can you just tell me, do you genuinely feel that way? Is there a point right now that you just don't have the answers, and so you're finding it really difficult to pick yourself up, or can you help us understand the comment a bit more?
Not particularly. When you have a feeling, you have a feeling. And it's, there's a lot going on in the background that is not great. So, yeah.
Have you lost your love of racing right now?
No, I still love racing.
Thank you, Ant. Yeah, it was always going to be hard, wasn't it? I guess the issue with Lewis as well, certainly stepping back and looking at objectively, it was such a huge moment, him signing for Ferrari. I mean, a moment in history in the sport. And it's just been a massive anticlimax so far. Where do you think it's gone wrong for him?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of hype around it. There was a lot of excitement around it. It was going to potentially be this dream team, you know, Lewis in a Ferrari, reignite his love of the sport, bring back the performances of old that we've not seen in recent years with Mercedes. You know, if Ferrari could produce a big enough car, the 8th World Championship was talked about a lot. But, you know, there was also a lot of talk about how difficult it would be to integrate to the team, very different culturally, very different car, different engine, all of these things that Lewis has been used to for so much of his career. And we're seeing some of that play out. We're seeing some of that difficulty adjustment play out. But we did see Leclerc on pole. So he's obviously frustrated that he's not getting the best out of the car, even though the car is not as good as he would like it to be. So there's these two stages happening. And it does need a bit of a reset. It will need, I don't know if the end of the year can be turned around. Obviously, Lewis hopes they can, and Ferrari hope they can. But they need to set themselves up for the strongest position they can be in next year.
And I guess, well, he's already alluded to it, hasn't he, that the summer break can't come soon enough. He needs that mental reset as well. If nothing else, just to stop beating himself up. It's horrible to see him like that.
It is horrible. It's hard listening. But to pick up on Bernie's point as well, I think he's in a different position as well. He's gone to Ferrari to try and win his 8th world title with a third team. He's not gone there just to try and get a few good results. He's not a young driver that, you know, is just on his way up the ladder and hoping to kind of progress his career. He wants that world title, and he knows, exactly as Bernie said, that the car's not there to win a world title, and for whatever reason he feels like he's not there at the moment either. So it's like double whammy, and I think you're absolutely right. A summer break is needed. It's not actually that much of a break, to be honest, when you actually think about how much time they get off. But hopefully he can bounce back, and we won't see him quite in this frame of mind.
Yeah, hopefully just enough to press the reset button. OK, let's hear from his old teammate now, George Russell, who got his 6th podium of the year.
George, huge congratulations. Were you aware that Charles was having an issue at all, or did they tell you that the pace was...
I saw how slow he was, so I presume something was not right. The only thing we can think of is they were running the car too low to the ground, and they had to increase the tyre pressures for the last stint because they were using an engine mode that was making the engine slower at the end of the straight, which is where you have the most amount of plank wear. So,
I mean, he said to me just now it was a chassis, something with the chassis he wasn't aware of, but that's
he's not going to tell you that they're close to being illegal.
This is true.
So,
this is true.
That's the only thing we can think of based upon the lap times and the engine mode they were running and stuff like that. But nevertheless, really pleased with the result. Strange weekend when you look at, if you exclude McLaren and you look at the order of sort of P3 to P13, it's quite odd. You know, you wouldn't expect Max to be so far down. Aston had an amazing weekend. So we'll take the positives, but we won't get carried away with it.
I mean, you capitalised on whatever was going on because you had a fantastic start. I mean, just talk us through that start, because it was quite chaotic, but you saw an opportunity and you went for it.
Yeah, for sure. It was a lot going on at the start, and once I got past Lando, I kind of wanted to block him a little bit to let Alonso through, because I knew Lando was going to be too quick, but that lasted for a lap, so and I was quite happy to keep Lando at bay for the first stint. But you know, those guys are just doing an amazing job right now. They're head and shoulders above everyone, week in, week out. I don't think that's going to change much in the second half of the year, because everybody's so focused on 26. So our goal is to be best of the rest.
So at the end of the race, Toto came on the radio. Great drive, George. Yeah. Does that add a 0 to the contract? And will you sign it during the summer? We've been told it's in your hands. I don't know how true that is, but
I've got a bottle in my hand.
but does that help in negotiations? I mean, it's been tricky for you. There's been so much other talk going on, but you put in a performance like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think today was anything sort of different to what I've shown my whole career, really. I know what I'm capable of. I got to be honest, I'm going straight on holiday tonight. I'm going to do 10 days off.
You can make him sweat.
No, I mean, there's nothing. He's got nothing to be worried about. I've got nothing to be worried about, and nothing's going to happen over summer because, honestly, I just want to have a rest and recharge and come back stronger for the second half of the year. But you know, there's no time pressure either way now, so it'll happen when it will happen.
It's a when, not if.
Yeah, it's a when, not if. You know, I'm 27 now. I've been with the team for 4 years. Next year would be my 5th. We want to build the relationship together, but it's got to be right. And I don't want to rush it. I've been waiting 12 months. I'm not going to just rush it in the course of 2 weeks. So we'll sit down when the time is right.
Great job today. Have a good summer. Thanks.
So was this a preventative measure to avoid disqualification on Ferrari's part?
Yeah, so interesting that George said it in the pen, but I think it is a preventative measure. So there's 2 things George mentioned. We've obviously picked up on the tyre pressure. As Ant said, raising tyre pressure raises the ride height, so that's why you get less plank wear. It's very, very small, but in these cars, millimetres are making the difference. So that is a preventative measure. It's a way of preventing the plank hitting so much. Why they do it on the later tyres is because they can see how much the plank is contacted in the earlier stints, and they can take the pace in the earlier stints, but maybe not for the whole race. Interesting though, on the lighter car, the problem should be getting less and less and less. The other thing that George mentioned was maybe they've turned down the engines a bit so that end of straight, the car is not so fast. And if the car is not so fast at the end of straight, basically you take off downforce and the rear of the car will lift up a little bit. So both methods would prevent the plank being as in contact with the ground. So the straight line speed is easy to spot on GPS for any team. And it'll be a control system they've done on the car. The tyre pressure, much more difficult for a team to spot. You don't get that data from other teams. Pirelli will get it, the FIA will get it, but other teams no. It'll be interesting to see how it progresses going forward. Ferrari will not have want that information to be given away in either direction, but we know they have suffered with plank wear earlier this year, so it's not surprising that it's plank wear. Surprising that the 2 methods are being so openly discussed here now.
Yeah, and the ultimate impact of it, of course, that Charles Leclerc finished in 4th. Pick up on just one point that George made about his contract. Maybe the whole Max Verstappen to Mercedes thing was just a storm in a teacup.
Potentially. I mean, I quite enjoyed it because I think it brought so much interest to the sport.
What they think of that, but from my side, of course, it was a very difficult weekend, and in the race it was the same. Just a very low grip, and there was not much that we could make out of it.
On the radio at the end, it was, you know, we're going to look into this, and you said, yeah, I'll have a look at it. How much do you get involved, and what sort of things can you help the team with?
It's a fully open discussion between everyone.
And so, can you? I mean, you ask for what you want more of, and they say what they can do, or how does it work? Just for people to understand.
There are always a few ideas that you look into, but of course I cannot go into detail.
No, that's fine. But in terms of, I guess, you know, you're looking at balance, you're looking at all sorts of things, because a lot gets talked about this car being designed for you, and then it comes out that actually it's quite tricky to drive. You can handle it because of your skills, whereas that's where others find it more difficult. Would that be fair?
Designed for me, I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I'm saying we understand now it's not designed for you. It's a very tricky car that only you can drive because of your talent and your skill, is what I'm saying. So
it's very complicated to explain, because I mean this weekend is just nothing worked. Unfortunately, and I think in Spa we had a much more competitive weekend. Now I know we're not on the level of McLaren, but they're also doing, of course, a really good job this year. But this is a bit weird for us, and that's something that we just need to investigate.
Okay, have a good summer. Thanks, Max.
Thank you.
So yeah, as he touched on, he won the sprint in Spa, but he hasn't finished on the podium in the last 4 Grand Prix and finished a full minute and 12 seconds behind the race winner. I mean, it's frustrating times. He's robust, he's resilient, he'll work hard, he'll gather the team around him, no doubt. But there's a lot of work to do at Red Bull, isn't there?
Absolutely. I think one thing I do like about Max is I don't think he'll ever doubt his own ability. I think he's in a position where he just knows it's the car, and he knows that he's not able to get results. He excited me quite a lot in that race. He was doing some really nice moves into turn 6, a bit over the limit, I think, with Lewis in the end, up into turn 4. But I think they need to really look at the drawing board, because if he's saying that he doesn't even think they're going to get a race win for the rest of the year, it's a long year, and that's going to really be tough on the whole Red Bull team.
OK, well, Bernie's old team, Aston Martin, had a great day today, didn't they? Let's hear from Fernando Alonso now. He finished P5.
44, I mean, who cares? right?
Yeah, so far the best result of the season, you know, for myself and also for the team. 16 points, very important at this part of the championship and before the summer break. So yeah, it's good to go with a smile into the break for everybody.
How pleased are you though? Because I know the team have been working hard. It's been really tough for you two. They've kept trying to bring parts, but for everyone to have that lift of a P5 and a P7 for Lance going into the break, knowing that work's worth it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm super happy. I'm proud of the team, you know, with all the new parts that we have this last push, you know, into the 2025 car, and it seems that they delivered what we were expecting. And obviously the track also was a little bit friendly to us. They've seen in all the circuits, but you know, we take one at a time. And today I think we execute a good weekend.
You say the track was kind to you, so for the rest of the season, is it going to be peaks and troughs for you again, or do you think you can get a consistent
I think
level?
so. I think it's going to be up and down for everybody. You know, we saw the best example, I think, the last two races. You know, how teams seem to you know, deliver and perform very differently from track to track, and I think it's going to be the same for the rest of the season. But we need to minimize the losses when we are underperforming, and we need to maximize, like today, the good tracks.
Thank you. Well done.
Well, it's not just a good track for Aston Martin, it's a great one for him specifically. He scored points in 13 of the last 14 Hungarian Grand Prix. I mean, what a spring in their step going into the summer break. And by the way, you were absolutely on brand right there with your Aston Martin. No bias here, please.
No bias. I was actually, before we interviewed Zach Brown after the podium, Zach was asking me why green and why not orange, so I'm going to have to balance that at some point.
Well, if you wear papaya in Holland, you're going to blend in well.
I will blend in well. I want to be a Max fan as well. No bias here. Let's start with that. But it is great to see that team doing so well. They've had a really, really tough year. I think it is gone. You know, this week they've brought a new front wing. That's all that we've been told about. One new component. You know, it's a big component, but one new component. And it seems to have revolutionised the car. It's a very different circuit to Spa, for sure. Much higher downforce, but we've been to high downforce tracks this year. We've not seen that sort of performance that we've seen from them this weekend, consistently all weekend. So they've got to be buoyed that whatever they have changed on the specifics of that front wing has worked. And that's a good correlation point for their wind tunnel, for their fluid dynamics back at the factory, for the simulator, for all of those things to start to build on for next year and the rest of this year. So the guys in the garage and the girls that work so hard week in, week out, this 2-week break is so important. And to go into that thinking, the rest of our year might not be as bad as we feared it was leaving Spa, that's so positive.
Absolutely. So a great day for Aston Martin. A fabulous one for Lando Norris because he has secured McLaren's 200th Grand Prix win. Let's hear from him now.
Lando, huge congratulations. Can you take us inside the helmet for those last few laps? Literally pulling that face.
Yeah.
What was it like? What was going through your mind?
I mean, it was tough. Like the last few laps were, some of the toughest laps. I mean, because Oscar was pushing flat out on a much nicer tyre than my one. I was just trying to not make a mistake, really. And when the tyre is so, like at the end of a stint, it was so easy to lock up in one, in two. So easy to lock up into the chicane 8, 7, 6. It just felt so easy to make a mistake, you know. So I feel like I had to drive at 100% and it was too much. I'm under rotating, I'm making a mistake. I drive at 98%. I feel like I'm just under the limit and not getting anything out of the car. So there was like the 99% limit, which was so difficult to be on, but I had to be on for as long as possible. And I felt like I was on it for a good amount of that second stint. So I didn't really expect it to work. You know, I was a long way behind by the time we committed to the one stop. I pushed like hell trying to get past George and couldn't. So it wasn't like I was prepped from lap one for a one stop. But my end of first stint was just great. The pace was very, very strong, and I just managed the tyre perfectly in the second stint. So my strength of tyre management helped me out a good chunk today.
There must have been a lot of emotions in that race because the start you had, I mean, you dropped back at quite a few places. You went for it, but you did end up dropping back. So
It wasn't that I went for it. I didn't try to attempt anything. It was just Oscar didn't have the best start. He was in the slipstream of Charles on the left. I had a better start, so I had to go right. But then he could stay in the slipstream. I mean, I'll look at it and see what else I could have done. But I think it was more just unlucky with how things played out ahead of me. I think literally, if it worked out any other way, I could have tried to make a position up. But that's life, and we turned that little downside of lap one into the opportunity to do what we did today. So it worked out.
How does this help with confidence, with your mental approach going into the summer break? Now the gap's 9. Does it make the summer break better?
I mean, not really. My confidence is high. I feel good. You know, I'm not lacking any of it. I don't think I need any of it at the time being. I feel good. I feel like I'm getting a good amount out of the car. Could it be better? Yeah. I still feel like there's some things I need to work on. You know, like yes, my lap 1 wasn't so good today, but some of my lap 1s have been fine, and my starts have been okay. So, you know.
But
there's little
opportunities.
Like I'm not making the most of. I'm not making my life easy, and I just got to make it that little bit easier than what it is right now.
But on-track battles like that with Oscar, where you come out on top, that's got to help, because each of these tiny little things will help each of you going forwards, won't they?
I don't know. I'll forget about it tomorrow, and I got a test on Tuesday. Then I'll enjoy a break. I'll detach and. Yeah, then spend some time with my team on trying to work on some other things, trying to improve and see what I can do better. But yeah, I mean, a win's great. I gained some points today, but I think both of us were accepting one of us is going to win every now and then, and it's going to go to and fro for the rest of the year. So it is what it is. I got some points back today, but it's going to be full reset for Zandvoort.
Well done today. Have a good summer.
To run and run and run, you know, and as a spectator, them to be so close. We want the gap to close. We want it to be a fight to the end of the season, and that's what we're getting.
It's been hugely entertaining, hasn't it? I am going to wrap things up by asking you lovely ladies your highlight of 2025 so far. I can't quite believe we've had 14 races. Well, I can actually. I'm exhausted, but it's been a lot, hasn't it?
It's
can you remember?
I can't remember all of them. That's the problem. Well, I was going to say Australia.
Were you?
Because maybe because it was the first race that I remember it. Because from a driving perspective, I remember watching that race very, very early in the morning at home, thinking this looks so difficult. Like, I would not even imagine being behind the wheel of a car like that. Wow. And obviously tough for the rookies, and I think one of the best examples of how tough Formula One is these days.
So you didn't stay up, you got up, because I thought you were going to say, I remember watching that very, very drunk.
Yeah. Well, I hope I wasn't drunk at 6 a.m.
Good. No, you got up early. Good.
I got up early.
Ever the professional. Bernie?
Well, aside from obviously getting to work with Jamie for the first time, I think, well, because my memory's not so good as Jamie, so I can't remember Australia, which is all the way back in March. My highlight, I really loved the Silverstone Grand Prix. I loved there was a lot of intricacies going on there, and Hülkenberg, who has fought so hard to be on the podium, I think that's my takeaway from the few races. Yeah,
it was epic. Well, 10 more races to go, but you're going to have to wait a little while until you get them. We've got a mandatory 3-week break now, and then we'll be back for Holland at the end of August. Thank you so much for your company so far. Happy holidays.
Yep, happy holidays to all F1 fans. Now, to recap this race, I was disappointed with Ferrari because we could have another winner just for a change, because I'm bored of only McLaren winning, and speaking of which, another 1-2 for them, but this time Oscar caught up to Lando and we had a fight by the end of the race. Russell got in the podium and he even had the fastest lap of the race. Great driver, great race. Charles in 4th, but not by his fault because we saw what he can do plenty of times. Then Alonso in 5th, and I'm so happy to see him where he belongs. Max in 9th, and outdriven by Lawson in a Racing Bull. I guess all Max haters will be happy today. But then again, we have Lewis finishing the race a century behind the McLarens. Thank you and goodbye.